Hey, 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 Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box Podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Maria.
My name's Harry.
And my name's Matt.
And welcome to the January Roundtable.
Woo!
Yay!
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Who fans, welcome back to another month of the Roundtable, another month of waffle and stupidity, and the odd little bit of Who opinion and knowledge in there as well. It's great to have you back for another one. And I said it on a couple of episodes now, but I guess I should say it again as we're just about inside January. And if you only listen to the Roundtables, then I hope you had a good Christmas and that you had a good New Year, and that your 2025 is off to a good start. I'm joined, as you heard in the intro, by Maria, Harry and Matt. And we're going to talk about their thoughts on a couple of things that they haven't had a chance to talk about yet, because we have been busy, because it's been Christmas and New Year and all the rest of it. So the Christmas special that just recently landed, Joy to the World, we're going to get their thoughts on that. And then the War Games in Colour. I'm not going to say controversial, it isn't that bad, but there's been a lot of thought and a lot of whispering and some keyboard warrioring, etc. about this story. So again, it'll be good to get these guys' thoughts on that stuff. And before we kick off, remember to make sure you are hitting the follow button on your preferred podcast app of choice. That way you won't miss an episode when it lands every month from this lot, and also the other episodes with Adam and myself. And you can listen online as well over at bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk, and you can also read the reviews and articles and editorials, etc. from this lot. And you can link off to the socials, and you can link off to the Discord server and chat Doctor Who with us in between episodes every day if you want. Every day. There's always something Doctor Who happening. So actually, guys, let's do that. Let's do that, because we can't start the episode off without the sound clip, can we? So all together, we hope you're keeping well and safe, and that you've all managed to do something Doctor Who
Related.
Maria's
Related.
Matt was still going. Maria in there as she's lightning quick. Lightning quick,
Oh yeah,
very
I
nice.
don't hang about, Gary.
Right, without further ado, what should we talk about first, guys? What do you want to dive into first? War Games or Joy to the World?
I want to know what everyone's been up to, sort of Who-wise.
Oh, actually, yeah.
First
Did you
and
guys get
foremost.
anything Who related for Crimbo?
Oh, did I get anything Who-related?
Did you not get the usual stuff from the family that doesn't know what to buy you? Like a Doctor Who calendar, socks?
Oh, actually, some friends of mine got me a TARDIS pin badge, which I have put on my backpack. I'm not normally a pin badge on backpack kind of person, but I am now. And every time I'm going somewhere and I'm speaking to someone, I show them my TARDIS pin badge and they think it's really cool. So that's pretty dope.
Are you not going to get a black bomber jacket and start like an Ace style, with all the badges and whatnot? Oh, no.
You know what?
Oh, no.
I got a diary for 2025. Never had a diary before. It's surprising how organised my life is now. So I will make a note of that, and maybe I'll rock up to Capital Cutaway wearing one. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, certainly with the rucksack with the TARDIS pin badge. That's for sure.
Yeah. You been up to anything else Who related? You done much?
I have been doing... listeners might know, I have been doing my main Doctor Who marathon from the very beginning, and I'm sort of in the Patrick Troughton era. And with my partner, we're going through the modern era, and we're up to Jodie Whittaker. So we finally started that. And I thought what was going to happen is that we would watch it, and she would say, "Harry, this is rubbish," and I would go, "Yeah, this is rubbish. This is exactly what I was anticipating." And then we would turn it off, and then we would start another TV show. But I am very surprised to report that I have watched the first 5 episodes of Series 11 again, and I have really, really enjoyed it.
Oh, brilliant.
Brilliant.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, brilliant.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah, it's really good. Honestly, I don't know what happened. I maybe it's because we're away from the kind of trendy sort of negativity of the time, because it was very trendy. It's always very trendy to hate on the current Doctor or the current showrunner or whatever. Like, for some reason, Doctor Who fans unfortunately are inclined that way. But I mean, the writing isn't the best, but it's a lot of fun. And I think that compared to companions like Clara Oswald, who is the most important person in the universe and all that rubbish, like Ryan, Graham and Yaz, they're just normal, ordinary people. And yeah, you might say they're a bit boring, but that is super refreshing after the Moffat era. And yeah, I'm surprised. I honestly surprised at how much I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to rewatching episodes, a lot of which I haven't seen since transmission. Yeah,
I see.
A surprising development to report on this month.
That is surprising. Nice one, dude. And I think on you saying that has got Maria absolutely riled up. So Maria, over to your savage rage about what Harry's just said. How have you been, and have you done anything Who related?
All I'm going to say is different strokes for different folks.
How polite.
I'm not going to bite. I'm not going to take the bait.
I was expecting far worse.
I have to be honest, I haven't really done very much Doctor Who related. I mean, obviously we had lots of things to look forward to on TV. So, you know, my main kind of Doctor Who was obviously what was on TV, because it was all kind of fresh and new, and I was in the mood for that over Christmas. But yeah, I haven't really done a lot Doctor Who related, unless you count kind of looking at lots of podcasts and their reaction to Joy to the World. So I think that kind of just about sums up. It was kind of a lazy kind of time for me. I wasn't out and about. So, but you know, I've kind of enjoyed kind of seeing the reaction to, you know, our new offerings over Christmas. So can't really complain.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting you say about other podcasts and whatnot and their reactions. I did the same, actually, in that, you know, that kind of in-between limbo period between Christmas and New Year when nobody knows what day it is and everyone's lost their bloody mind and stuff. So yeah, I did listen to a few podcasts about that. So yeah, the Doctor Who podcast, who else was it? Radio Free Scaro, the Doctor Who show, our Aussie friends, they did a good one. Who else was it? There's another one. I think it was...
There's a couple that I listened to that that were interesting. There was Type 40, and there's also one called The Sense Sphere, which I quite enjoy listening to. But yeah, I was a bit like you, Gary. I was kind of listening to everyone's reaction and kind of, you know, surfing that outrage that there was kind of out there. So yeah, I think that kind of you know, took my Doctor Who curiosity, really. So yeah, I haven't really watched anything. I don't know. It's a funny kind of period, really, Christmas, because there was so much other stuff on TV that I was kind of looking forward to. I mean, I kind of watched a lot of non-Doctor Who stuff. So, you know, there was loads of classic films on and things like that. So, you know, and I kind of like doing all of that. There was loads of classic films on TV over Christmas. There was obviously Christmas Day, Wallace and Gromit and Gavin and Stacey, which I really enjoyed. So, you know, there was other things to watch. So, yeah, I kind of got my fill of kind of things over Christmas.
Gotcha.
That wasn't really Doctor Who. Yeah.
Gotcha. I read you. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean, though. It was just that normal sort of Christmas downtime TV viewing. And Wallace and Gromit was really good. It was
fantastic. I mean, you know, killer gnomes that are, you know, going out there and killing people. And yeah, I thought Wallace and Gromit was actually, it was just what we kind of need on Christmas Day, really. Easy to follow. well paced. Can't complain really. It was actually really good, and it was funny as well. So
yeah, it was. Yeah. I'd like to see the Aardman guys do a series of Doctor Who shorts. That'd be pretty cool as a kind of gap filler in between, because it seems like we have a long time in between series these days. So it would be cool to have some kind of stop motion kind of thing. But yeah, I read you. Okay, Harry. Sorry, Harry. Matthew. The order on my screen has changed. How have you been, buddy? How have your Crimbo been?
Oh, very good. Thank you, Gary. Yeah, just the same old as everybody else, really. Family and watching the telly and eating too much and drinking too much and all that good stuff. And got the I actually got one Doctor Who related item this year. Normally I get quite a few, but it was the Doctor Who Cluedo set from Capaldi's era. It was I think it's the Hunt for Gallifrey.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Very good fun. Very good fun indeed. Obviously, it's Cluedo with a Doctor Who theme around it, but yeah, great fun. Saying I'm off to, I think the Cybermen have done it in Gallifrey and that sort of thing. It's very good fun. But that was it for Doctor Who stuff, really. I mean, I've obviously watched the Joy to the World and the War Games in Colour, but I can't say I did actually manage to. Well, I convinced myself and my better half that it'd be a worthwhile investment to get the Dalek subscription.
Oh, you did, didn't you? You got part 1, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I've got part 1 and 2.
Oh, 2. Okay.
Yeah,
it's good so far.
Well, I've been so busy, I haven't actually managed to do it yet. But just from the packages, they look like really highly detailed and high quality.
Well, for the price they bloody want to be, mate.
Yeah.
What's the end price after you've built the lot? Come on.
It's that price.
What is it? Over £1,000?
Over a grand.
Yeah, it's about 1,400, I think, in the end. But that is split over 3 years.
I hope it does blooming somersaults by the time that you build it fully.
He wants to be making the tea, at least.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it's trainable. Maybe I could train it.
At the very, very least, it should act as one of those little portable Roomba vacuum cleaners, right? The things that go around your carpet and map out your room and can do it intelligently. At least it needs to do that, right?
That would be brilliant.
I hope it looks after you, Matt. Would you care for a massage?
Welcome home, Matthew. Would you like a massage? You're like, oh God, this is too creepy. It might be Dalek Tat. Tat has planted itself back into... Yeah.
It could be a regenerated Dalek Tat come to haunt me for the rest of my days. He's like, you think you know much? You don't know much like me.
Oh, dude. You know what, guys? Dalek Tat is out there somewhere. He might make a return. This year. Who knows?
Oh, that would be good.
Keep your ears peeled to the skies, whatever. Crikey, Matt. So, yeah. All right, dude. But do you know what? If you're getting enjoyment out of it and it's going to be cool, then what's money? Hey? What's money?
Well, yeah, I mean, quite a lot, but I don't know.
It's investment.
It looks really good, and I'm a sucker for a subscription thing. And I'm the kid that collected every single Doctor Who adventures and the Battles in Time and anything that subscription wise came out, and it was in it was it. I made sure my corner shop saved me a copy.
Do you know what, dude? You're the sort of guy. I know you reasonably well by now. And you're the sort of guy that absolutely loves this. I can tell. Like weekend. Saturday morning, you and your missus are like, we've not got anything on. It's going to be a pretty boring weekend. What shall we do? You're like, no. Part 57's just turned up of the Dalek build. We're sorted, babe, for the next couple of hours. And your face is going to light up and it's going to be brilliant. Yeah. Fair play.
Yeah, you've nailed it on the head, to be quite honest. That and building some sort of Lego set.
I'm interested to know, Matt, how big are the parts that you get every week? Is it like a tiny little thing about that big, or is it actually something half decent?
So the first issue, I believe, I think it's the start of the Eye Stalk. I think I'm getting this right. And the second issue is the actual Eye Stalk and some of the behind the scenes electronics that go with it. And then I think next issue is like the base, the top of the dome of the Dalek's head.
Okay.
That doesn't sound like this is going to take up 3 years, though, from what you said.
Well, it's 4 issues a month.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not a weekly thing,
is
is
it?
it?
Not monthly, or is it weekly or monthly?
Well, you get it once a month, but you get 4 issues every shipment if you subscribe. And then they send out some extras, blah, 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 if you've subscribed, like a binder. You'll end up with like 5 blooming binders. And I've had a TARDIS keychain and, that sort of stuff. But, yeah. It to be fair, it looks very high quality, and as you say, so it blooming should. But I'm happy to report that it's not, looks like it's come from Temu. It does look very professional.
Yeah, imagine when it's done, it will look like a right mess when it'll be held together with sellotape and I wonder if you get.
I'm looking forward to the end result.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
I wonder if you get a little squishy. Do you get a little squishy Dalek that's going to live inside it, or is it just the shell?
No, you do get. I don't think it's squishy. I don't know actually, but it does. It shows you that you get a mutant, to put inside it, and to be fair, it opens up in the compartments how it opens up in Dalek, the episode.
Oh, gotcha.
So
nice.
It mechanically opens up in part, and you get to see the opening of the mutant creature inside.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
It is. It's really cool.
Okay.
Worth the money? Probably not, but
But you can't put
and sinkered.
Yeah, you can't put a price on a continuous stream of Doctor Who goodness.
Exactly.
You can't put a price on that.
This is what I've been telling my better half for the last 8 years.
We can put a price on it, Matt, which is why we haven't done it. But you,
No.
You crack on, mate. You crack on. Anyway, before we get on with that, actually, yeah, just a friendly reminder: as we are all on the get my words out. Oh, excuse me, teeth back in. As we're all on the recording, bar Jordan and Adam. Adam's not coming anyway. It's not important enough. Just a reminder that we're at the Capital Cutaway event. Plugging that one, as usual. April the 6th. Sunday, April the 6th. We'll be there on the Saturday. Taking charge of London, of course. And going for a few drinkies and some food and whatnot. So if you've not got your ticket yet, Doctor Who listener, and you're in the UK, especially down south, then make sure you grab that. We'll stick a link to the show notes to grab your ticket. It looks like a really good day already. I think they're going to announce some more guests over the next month or two, which will be good. And yeah, but the best thing about it is you get to meet us, which is be the highlight of your weekend. You'll get to see Maria go absolutely nuts when someone says that the Whittaker era is the best or something like that.
Oh, I've just watched The Timeless Children and it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Yeah, just watch Maria get the cricket bat out. Yeah, here we go. Anyway,
you'll get to see Maria punch me after I say The Timeless Child. It's not that bad.
You've not seen Maria go absolutely ballistic before at Who fans. I've been to a BFI event where she's literally thrown somebody through a window because it wasn't good. It wasn't
You
good.
don't like the classic series? Paw, paw.
I was nearly under fire.
Yeah, watch out in April. Storm Maria's coming.
Yeah, I was nearly under fire. We were talking about some classic Who stuff. I think about The Visitation, and just as a joke, I was like, "Oh, what a load of rubbish!" And you could see like the smoke just start coming out of her collar and like out of her ears, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm gonna have to
Kettle on boil.
gonna have to pipe down a bit. I was only kidding. I love The Visitation. Yeah,
I thought it was your favourite Davison, actually.
it is one of my
Gary.
fave. Yeah. Caves is my fave Davison, which is a shame because he gave his best performance, in my opinion, on his way out the door. But anyway, that's for another podcast, I guess. Right, we should crack on. Unlike the Doctor, we don't have an infinite amount of time jumps to go back and forward, etc. Wow, that's geeky. What do you guys want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about the Crimbo special or the War Games colorized?
Well, I suppose we should, because if it's chronological, I suppose we should talk about the War Games in colour, really, shouldn't we?
Sure.
And then save the main event.
Sure.
Joy to the world.
I agree, Joe. Let's spend 15 minutes on this then, because we have waffled for a long time. It's 20 minutes in. 15 mins, round table, of course, as the name suggests. Who wants to go first on their views? Harry, what did you think? Two questions. We should answer two questions in this, right? On a serious note, we should answer. The first one is, what did you think to the quality of the colorization? And secondly, what's your thought on editing the story down to the 90-minute feature film kind of thing? What are your thoughts on those?
Okay, I like it. Colorization. It was very colourful. It was.
Come on, you could do better than that.
Compared to what we had before. I mean, I just thought it looked gorgeous, and it was a real step up from the Daleks. I mean, they didn't look like they were wearing goofy costumes for one, and they put a lot of work into that. Clearly, you can tell. I mean, it's obvious. So yeah, colorization, obviously, 10 out of 10. In terms of the way it was edited, I mean, I have only seen the War Games once several years ago. I remember really enjoying it, considering, which is surprising considering that it's 10 episodes long. And I feel like a lot of, I've said before, a lot of classic episodes of Doctor Who, I would just lose interest because it would just go on and on and on. But the War Games, I remember kind of keeping its pace up for its 10-episode run, which is quite impressive. So I remembered it for that. The way this was edited down, for the first half an hour, I thought, oh, this is okay. This feels like it sort of makes sense. And then it became clear in sort of the middle 30 minutes that, like, because you know how like a story is normally structured, right? Like you've got the beginning, and then in the middle, like you sort of have the curve, right? The sort of like midpoint, and then it goes down towards the end, the cool down. This story felt like we had several curves. Right, we had several midpoints because that's what it was. It was several episodes of TV condensed to artificially into this sort of feature, and it felt like that. And because of that, it felt disorienting. And I joked earlier before we started recording that it felt like an Instagram scroll session version of the War Games, which kind of takes the essence and the what makes the War Games good. Because it's a classic 1960s drama, and this kind of saturated Gen Z-ified version of it. I didn't hate it. I still enjoyed it. Like I still had a good time with it. But like it just didn't. Yeah, it's not the way I think I would prefer to watch the War Games. In fact, when I finished it, I thought I'd much rather just like watch the original again. I don't really feel like I don't feel like we needed this, if I'm honest. That's kind of the lingering feeling that I have.
Okay.
I could live without it.
Okay, so we're obviously saying this from a you're saying it, sorry, from somebody who has seen the War Games and has watched a large portion, if not all, maybe I could be wrong, of classic Doctor Who.
Most,
yeah.
Yeah, I'd say about 85%.
Yeah. So you've watched obviously all of Modern Who, most of classic Who, and the War Games before. So I think that's the opinion of a lot of people who are in that same situation.
Because that's the thing. It was intended to be like something which appeals, I guess, to people like me, like a younger. No. Oh.
So this is, I think, the appeal is like somebody who's watched modern Doctor Who, and they like the modern era feel because it's got that contemporary, obviously in colour, but all the special effects, all that stuff. And I think it's for people who have never seen classic Who before, and especially black and white old Doctor Who. And because of that reason, because I have it with my son will say the same thing. He'll wind me up all the time if I'm watching old Who, or I was watching Blake 7 earlier today. He'll come in and he'll say something like, "What are you watching this old tat for? Dad, you're watching like this oldie worldy granddad stuff, So I think for a lot of younger audience who have either grown up with Modern Who or they watch that, dipping their toe into black and white Doctor Who is, what's the word? Unappealing enough, potentially. But then when you also throw into the mix that that's 10 episodes worth of black and white old Doctor Who in just one story, that's like that's a big ask for a lot of people. So I think that was the motive for it, was like, how do we get younger viewers to experience a classic story without feeling either intimidated or put off because it's black and white or whatever, and also just the length of the story as well. So from that point of view, I can totally see why you would want to do that with a story like the War Games. Because if you were to put all of Classic Who on the table to a newbie and say, right, what story do you want to go for? And you said, these are all the number of parts that make up each story. Chances are they're going to pick the War Games last because of the amount of stories, So I think that was the motive for it, dude. But I can see why you said that, though, that you say it's not needed, because we've all, do you know what I mean? We all appreciate the original version and all that jazz. So
I think even from that point of view, though, it's like, I feel like it's still intimidating, because I feel like someone who's perhaps never seen the War Games before, they would watch this version and they would think, oh, flipping hell, that was like a like fever dream. Like what the heck happened? Because like this, it's so like chop 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 chop, like really fast pace, and like I feel like that is in a way off-putting. But that's just me. That's just my experience. Maybe someone who's never seen it before and wouldn't know, have any semblance of what it was like originally, might think, oh, this is pretty dope. I'll check out more Trout and stuff.
Yeah. No, I read you. Anything else you want to mention about that? The War Games?
No. I'm all good.
You're good. Right. Yeah. Maria, for our sins, what did you think to the War Games in colour?
Whatever do you mean, Gary? I'm full of praise for this adaptation.
We'll see.
Okay. All right. So visually, I'd agree with Harry. I think it was a very good attempt. And I know Harry gave it 10 out of 10. I would probably give it a 9 out of 10, only because I'm being picky about some of the colour choices, because I think Patrick Troughton's shirt was actually white and not blue. And when you know things like that, when you've looked at old photographs, you know it, and that irritates me. And I don't want to sound like a fuddy-duddy about this, but I think if you're going to go to the effort of colouring it, using colorization, stick to what it would have been. That's just a nitpick, though. I mean, if I'm honest, I think one of the benefits of the colour was it did actually kind of maybe bring it a little bit closer to the viewer, because I know obviously black and white can be intimidating for some people. I mean, I say that as a classic film fan, and I've watched lots of black and white films, and I'm not adverse to doing that. I can, as long as there's a good story, I don't mind black and white, and there's some really classic films that have been deliberately done in black and white. If you look at Hitchcock, if you look at who's the guy that did oh gosh, there's another film that I've watched and I can't remember the name of it. It's gone out of my head. But there are a lot of filmmakers that actually deliberately do films in black and white, and there's reasons around that in terms of tone and atmosphere. So in regards to this, the colorization was good, but there are faults with the editing, and I think Harry's mentioned this already. It was very choppy in some ways. I mean, the first half an hour they seemed to take a lot out of maybe episodes 1 and 2 and 3, and it kind of made a sense. But then there were supporting characters that kind of came in, and they knew the Doctor, they knew the Zoe and Jamie, but you didn't have any context about who they were. And then there were other supporting characters that were cut out completely. They seemed to rush a lot of the revelations. I mean, obviously, I know it's 90 minutes, and I think that's one of the downsides of obviously trying to cut such a big story, because you do lose a lot of the essence of it, if I'm honest. It kind of settled down when because they kind of cut a lot out in the middle, and then it kind of went to the last 2 episodes. I mean, I've watched the War Games recently. I haven't watched all of it, but I wanted to be clear in my own head about what that colorized version was in comparison to the black and white. So I started watching the black and white episodes, and there is time to build up those supporting characters and actually get to enjoy them, and you don't get that in the colorized version. They do kind of rush to the end with the Time Lords and things like that. So I think you lose a lot of that in the editing. I mean, it wasn't as bad as the Daleks. This was obviously a lot better in terms of the editing. They had thought about what they were going to do, but you do lose a lot. I think one of the most distracting things was actually the sound, because there was something wrong in that sound mix, because it was kind of, the music kind of exploded, I think, out of my television for the first 40 minutes. And I honestly couldn't hear a lot of the dialogue. Whatever that mix was, it was really distracting. And when I went back to the black and white version, there wasn't so much of that incidental music in there. And I'm kind of questioning why they would make those kind of choices. It was like they were pounding the story instead of letting it breathe. And I think if they'd kind of cut some of that incidental music out, it would have been so much better. I mean, it was kind of constant all the way through. It really gave me a headache. I did say to the guys when we were chatting afterwards, I just couldn't, the first 30, 40 minutes, I couldn't bear it, honestly. And, I'm not somebody that, won't watch something all the way through, but I really was turned off by it. I think there were a few music choices that I didn't agree with. I know they put in some modern music to say that the war chief was the master. I know there were little bits in there, and I kind of noticed that in the background when I was watching, and I kind of disagree with the reasoning around that. I know that, there's a lot of discussion about whether the war chief is actually the master, and it's an early version. But yeah, I'm sorry, I just don't agree with the reasoning, from Phil Collinson or Benjamin Cook, because if you kind of look at some of the quotes that you've had from them, they wanted to do it because it was fun to do. And, and it was irresistible. And that kind of language kind of puts me off, because I think, if you're going to colorize it and remix the sound and things like that, don't change the essence of the story. And I haven't even got onto the regeneration yet. So, I think this version, I've watched it once. I don't really have any inclination to kind of go back. If it wasn't for the colorization, which is actually good, I would probably not want to see this version again, if I'm honest. I'm keeping it short and sweet. I've got so much more I could say about it.
So a thumbs down from you.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I would say is, I know we're talking about who this is aimed at, and it's meant to be, this generation of young people that, apparently can't sit and watch something for 3 hours, which I don't necessarily believe that, because I know, you go to the cinema sometimes and you're watching films for over 2.5 hours, 3 hours, so I don't know. I'd be really interested to know what the breakdown was in terms of who was watching this. I don't know we'd ever get those figures, but I'd be really interested to know if it's actually attracting that casual audience that they're looking for, because I think it would be just us fans that would be watching it, not necessarily the casual viewer, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. Your opinion's your opinion. You're not wrong, but no, I totally see what you're saying. Yeah. Similar to what Harry, so a thumbs down, I think, from you. Yeah. Matt, are we going to balance the scales? Is this going to be a thumbs up, or is this going to be a bit of a thumbs down as well? What say thee?
Well, I can actually offer a bit of a different perspective. I have don't come at me, Maria. I'm probably going to have another punch in the face for this when we meet at the Capitol. But I've not actually seen the original so far, purely because when I started classic, like my foray into Classic Who, you're exactly right. Listeners, you can't see this, but apart from Maria, who's being, very nice, and she's bubbling on the inside, but she's being very polite.
Let me say, Matt, I would never dare hit you. I would never dare hit you. So rest assured, you'll be fine.
But the rest of them have actually left the room. No, but I would say, oh gosh. Yeah, no, I am being hated for this. I am being hated for this, people.
Go on.
No, sorry, you carry on.
When I started into my Classic Who watch, and going back from a modern only viewer, you're right. I did feel like it was intimidating, and it was quite a thing to 10 parts. That's a lot to get to and go through, and you're so used to with the modern episodes to have a higher pace, and knowing that Classic Who is generally at a slower pace, you're thinking that is going to take some watching, and am I going to be bored and that sort of thing. But now I've started from an unearthly child, and I'm making my way through. Excuse me. That's kind of paused a little bit for a minute, but I did get to around mid Troughton. So I just haven't got there yet for one reason.
The same as me, Matt. That's about where I am in my marathon.
I think I know I watched The Invasion, and I'm not entirely sure how much more I've watched. It's been a few months, but I'm going to get there, and it just so happened that I didn't get there in time. So don't rest assured, I will get there, and I will watch it, and I will enjoy it. But for the moment, this was my first watch into the War Games, and to be honest, I really enjoyed it.
That's it.
Not without
it was
its
good.
faults.
Yeah, So what do you think to the colorization? Actually, no, I can't really ask you that because you haven't seen the original. So, but in terms of your expectation, did you think like, oh yeah, this is what I expected, or did you think, wow, this is like mega cool? Like if, say for example, if you watch this and you didn't know that the original black and white story existed, would you have just assumed that this was a color story?
No. So if
right.
I mean, the colorization. Sorry, not the coloring. Not a coloring book.
Get the crayons out.
They've just got some Crayola and they've just sort of drawn it in. They did a really good job of keeping in their lines. No, the colorization was really well done, actually, and much better than the Daleks.
Yeah.
Like a massive step up. Watching the Daleks, it kind of felt like I was on some sort of trip. You know how they describe when you're on a trip and it's like all of these psychedelic colours and everything? That's how I felt whilst watching the Daleks. But with this, it was a lot more natural, a lot more kind of true. You wouldn't know if it was true to, what it actually was, but it felt it. It felt true to the source material, as it were.
Yep.
But if I was to never know that it existed as a 10-part story, I would have a lot more issues with it, because knowing that it's cut down from this massive epic into 90 minutes, I think I forgave quite a lot of the choppy cuts that it does you're going through some of it and you think, hang on, what's going on? And I think
right.
Everybody's shouting, especially within the first 5 minutes.
Everybody's shouting. Yeah, that is true. Matthew. Matt's conked out. I swear I haven't booted him from the thing because he hasn't seen the original War Games. I promise I've not hit the remove button. It's his internet has dropped out. Okay, we'll pick Matt back up in a sec. We'll revisit his final score. We might get a score out of him in a second. But all right, dudes, let's move on to the Crimbo special thoughts. Joy to the world. So, Adam and I have already given you our review on the regular show that went out a couple of weeks ago on that one. So, to you guys, then, who wants to go first to give us your thoughts and feelings on this one? Again, let's centre it around a couple of questions so we've got some decent context. The first question would be, is this a good Doctor Who Christmas special in light of it just being compared to other Christmas specials? You know, that's always a bit of a thing, isn't it? The Doctor Who Christmas special is often either, completely crucified by people for being pretty bad, or people quite like it. They're often quite marmitey compared to like a series regular episode. So that's the first question. How do you think it stacks up to the previous Christmas specials we've had since 2005? And secondly, what were your thoughts on just the story as a whole? Did you think Stephen Moffat did a good, typical Moffat style story? Was it cool? Did you come away thinking, actually, that wasn't too bad, pretty good? Or did you come away thinking, Moff should have stayed retired from Who and, it wasn't that great? So who wants to go first, Maria or Harry?
Shall I go first? I'll go. I don't mind.
Go on in.
Okay. So my experience of Joy to the World was the first time I watched it was with my family. So I wasn't at home. I was at my brother's, and we sat down to watch it. They know I'm a Doctor Who fan, so they said, "Oh, you're going to want to watch it." So my brother sat down. I think he was attentive for about 10 minutes, and then he was scrolling on his phone. And then at one point he said to me, are you following the story? So, when you're with family, you want the story to be really good. And I have to be honest, I probably had a couple of glasses of wine by this point as well. So, you know, I was watching it, but not really. And the thing was, I couldn't hear everything as well. I don't know why, but I couldn't hear it very well either. So normally I'd have the subtitles on so I don't miss anything. You know, geek that I am. So I probably only caught about 60% of the story on that day. So, you know, it kind of passed me by, I suppose, a little bit. I mean, I kind of thought I was kind of a bit kind of 50-50 on it. And then I kind of watched it again a few days later on my own just to kind of try and make sense of it. I think in terms of what you're asking, Gary, I think it kind of sits in the middle as a Christmas story. It's not up at the top for me. I think, I mean, there's things that are right in it, and then there's things that kind of that feel a bit off with it, really. I mean, there's kind of, you know, there's this idea of the time hotel, which I love that idea, but it feels like we started off on that story, and you've got obviously the briefcase going from person to person, and I was loving that. I really wanted to see what was happening with that, and then you get this bit where the doctor's in the hotel with Anita, and obviously he's stuck there for a year. And that section, I enjoyed it, and I loved Anita as a character, but it kind of slowed the whole story down. It was kind of a distraction from the main story. And then, you know, and then we come back later on to Joy and what's happening with her. So even though it was called Joy to the World, I kind of felt that Nicola Coughlan, who I've only seen very briefly in Derry Girls, really didn't get, you know, her time to shine, really. I'm talking about stars and shining, but, you know, puns. But yeah, I mean, she was kind of hardly in it, really. And, you know, the fact that I kind of enjoyed the character of Anita, and I think it's Steph de Wale, I'm not sure how you pronounce her name. Mm-hmm. She was very good in it, and I actually enjoyed that. And that actually felt quite authentic to me, their relationship. But then I kind of thought to myself, did we really need that in the story? And was it a bit of a distraction? I mean, you had things like the sweeping of the staircase, which was kind of a bit Harry Potter, which kind of annoyed me, because I thought, well, you know, are we going into that kind of territory now? But I did enjoy that bit. I just thought, should it really be part of this story, or does it belong somewhere else? Mm-hmm. So the idea of the time hotel, love that. But then the story with Joy and her mum, I mean, I'm still 50-50 on it, really, because I think, you know, I don't think there was anything wrong with Stephen Moffat actually kind of talking about COVID, because obviously, you know, he was talking about Joy's mum and when she died and having a pop at politicians. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But again, as a piece of Christmas Day entertainment, did you really want to kind of have that in the story? I'm kind of 50-50 on it, because I know some people really liked it and they were glad that, you know, it was put in there. But then I've spoken to other people who and I work in healthcare, and I've got people that work in healthcare, and, you know, and they're kind of, you know, that was such a bad time for some people. You know, do you really need that in the story? So it's kind of, and then the bit at the end with Joy becoming a star and then her mum becoming Stardust. I mean, it was all a bit light. I mean, my initial thoughts were, I thought the story was stretched. That was my initial impression when I watched it on Christmas Day, and I don't think that's really changed. I mean, I liked Ncuti in it. I think he worked well, sort of being on his own, although I didn't like some of the dialogue. You know, there was a bit where he was kind of quite dismissive of Trev, and he was a bit condescending to him. And then there was bits where they compared the TARDIS to a toilet, and then there was a kind of dirty joke about the Silurian and and the doctor in a hotel room. And, you know, there was bits in the dialogue that I kind of thought, do you really need this on Christmas Day? Do you know, I don't know how to explain it. It's a very mixed kind of Christmas special for me. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but yeah, it was a bit, I'm still 50-50 on it about whether I would rank it in the middle. I don't know. It's really strange. There was kind of, I loved all the bit with the time hotel, but then you had the doctor he visited all these different rooms, and obviously he was coming in and out with this pumpkin latte, which was really irritating, at one point. But then you could kind of see where Stephen Moffat had kind of put the story together, because the doctor then went back to all those various rooms that he'd visited and picked up equipment in order to get the briefcase out of the rock. And, you know, it all kind of, you could see the kind of links in the story. And I don't know whether it was that well thought out as a story. I'm very 50-50 on it, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is not a thumbs up or down. This is like a Roman Empire thumbs in the middle crowd at the edge of their seat. Is Maria going to drop the hammer or the sword, or are they going to survive? I don't know. So you're in the middle.
If I was going to score it, I'd probably say, oh God, I don't know, 6 out of 10, maybe.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's not terrible. I thought you were going to rock a 3 or a 4 or something. So that's not okay. Righty. So before we crack on, just very quickly, Matt, you dropped out just briefly there. I think your Dalek pieces that you've got in the house are already causing interference. He's taken over already.
I think it is.
Yeah. So just very quickly, what would you score the war games, dude? Cool.
As a new viewer only, I would say 7.5 out of 10. You could see there was issues, but I enjoyed it on the whole.
Okay. Not too bad. We'll come back to you.
It might go way down after I see the original.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, of course. When you get around to it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Sorry, listener. You know,
come at me.
I've sold you the impression for years now that the Big Blue Box team were this, in-depth, knowledgeable people that have seen all of Who 50 times in and out, all the ways round. And here we have amateur hour on the bloody...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dear. Just joking, dude.
Not seen Star Wars, not seen classic Who. Oh, what am I doing here?
Love you.
Who am I?
Joking. Harry, we'll come back to you in a second, Matt. But Harry, your thoughts, please, on Joy to the World.
Joy to the World?
And those questions.
Joy to the World?
Joy to the World.
More like misery to the world.
Oh,
That's
no.
Nah, it wasn't quite that bad. That's how I felt when I first watched it on Christmas.
Oh.
I have since watched it a couple more times, and it has gotten better, I'm pleased to say. So I'll get the negativity out of the way first. So there are two things I really didn't like about this episode. I didn't like the way that the Doctor treated Joy in order to wake her up out of that trance that she was in from the suitcase. I thought that it was... I don't know why they wrote it to last for like a good few minutes, and I don't know why Ncuti sort of played it like the Doctor was like really enjoying it. I also didn't like how the Doctor said, "Oh, there isn't a bad way to save a life. There is a bad way, and it's that." So I thought that was very misjudged. I didn't like that moment at all, and it wasn't really in the Christmas spirit, I didn't think. And also, this actually ties into a positive that I have, this other negative, is that obviously we have plot A, which is the time hotel, and like Maria was saying, plot A just kind of stops, and then we have plot B, which is the Doctor working a minimum wage job for a year in this hotel and becoming best friends with Anita, and then plot B finishes and then plot A continues. And like I was saying earlier about story structure, I thought that was really weird that like we're going up the story mountain and then, oh, hang on a minute, we've got like a mini mountain on this story mountain, and then we're going to continue on the main story mountain. I just thought structurally that was really strange, a really strange choice, and also it's disappointing because that's actually, I think, a really great idea for an episode. I'd love to see the Doctor just actually like living, and I'm not talking like the Lodger where he has to try and like blend into normal life. I'm talking like he's actually forced to like live like a human for a year. There is no TARDIS or anything like that. He's working like a normal job and he's living a normal life on Earth, and then he develops like an actual real empathy for humans and the modern world for the very first time. I thought that's way more compelling than the whole of the rest of the episode, and I'm really disappointed that it was only just like plopped in the middle of this episode for no random reason. And also, I think it's really dumb that Joy says, find a friend, Doctor, and he doesn't immediately take Anita with him, and instead he's going to take Varada Sethu. I think that's dumb. It's really, really stupid. But other than that, I really like it. In answer to your questions, Gary, it is, I think it's actually genuinely up there with the other Christmas specials in terms of, by the standards of, is it good, dumb fun? Yes, it is. Does it, for the most part, leave me in a cheery mood? Yes. I really like how it's the first Christmas special to kind of tap into the true meaning of Christmas with like religion and Bethlehem and all that. I think that's really, really awesome. Yeah, Stephen Moffat's writing is charming. It's not always brilliant, but he does write. He always writes a witty script, I liked it. I didn't think it. I suppose for the most part, minus that bit where the Doctor was just being awful. It was inoffensive and it was good fun.
Inoffensive and good fun.
I just, what Harry was saying about the religious aspect of it, I just want to agree, because, sometimes Stephen Moffat does have a go at religion, or it feels like he's taking pot shots at religion. And I quite like the fact that it wasn't done in that tone. And the one thing that just struck me actually was why didn't the Doctor just go and visit the 14th Doctor? I mean, he's got a TARDIS. Why does he have to spend a year in a hotel?
Just ignore it. We don't think about it. When
the 14th Doctor is just living with Donna. Come on.
Don't think about it, Maria. Don't think about it.
But how do we know that? How do we know that Ncuti's Doctor at this point in the story is aware of the 14th Doctor?
Oh, explain that one, Gary, because I'm assuming everything happens in chronological order in terms of what we've seen.
Well, it could do. It could do. I mean, it doesn't mean that it is. I mean...
You're talking like a showrunner there, Gary.
I think you're doing a little bit of stirring there.
Stephen, I'm not after your job, mate. Or Russell, come on. I'm just diplomatic.
Next thing you're going to tell us that the next series has some of the most dazzling, amazing, beautiful things you've ever seen on screen.
What I'm trying to say is I'm pretty sure that the conceptually, the fact that you have two Doctors knocking around at the same time, blissfully unaware of each other, one of them actually really needing a lot of help and could quite easily just pop down the road and visit the other Doctor in his TARDIS and stuff. I'm 99% sure that that's something that would have been brought up at the writer's table or something like that. So there must be a reason why this Doctor didn't go and find the TARDIS with the other Doctor. It can't just be a case of, oh, yeah, we didn't think of that.
I did have a thought.
Actually, there was something else. I've just thought of it. Sorry, Matt. How come there was two versions of Ncuti at the same time?
Oh, geez.
I know there's meant to be a paradox, but how does that work? How can they both occupy the same space, the same version at the same time?
It's something called the bootstrap paradox, where it's a bit like you're unaware of the origin of something, so it causes this loop effect where it's a bit like a snake eating its own tail. It's like the whole the way that Moffat sort of breezes this off is that he said, "Oh, just don't worry about it. It's his thing. He's just, it's a paradox. Don't worry about it." So I think.
Oh, that's very convenient for the plot. I mean, how did they find the numbers? I mean, they never explained how Future Doctor got the numbers. I know it's a paradox, but it seems very iffy to me. But yeah, let's gloss over that. Let's just get on with the plot.
Yeah. But in regards to the other, to the 14th Doctor and his TARDIS with Donna and stuff like that, there must be a reason why he didn't go and see him. Maybe he doesn't know where he is. I mean, how would you go about that, right? If you were in the UK somewhere, and like, say for example, in like 20 years' time, Harry moves to France, and I have absolutely no idea in that entire country where Harry is. And then I visit France, and my wife says, "Should we visit Harry?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, but I have no idea. Like, he's in this country somewhere, but like he could be anywhere. I have no idea."
Though.
How is it?
That is different, because if you think about it, the 15th Doctor would have the memories of the 14th Doctor, so he would know where Donna lived.
Nope.
Wow.
Because at that Doctor and Ncuti had bi-generated at that point. So it was after the bi-generation that we had the ending with that Doctor going off somewhere with Donna, this Doctor going off somewhere else to do that thing. So that's like post-split. You know what I mean? This is not.
So they're like conjoined twins that are separated, is what you're saying.
I guess so.
Neither knows where the other is.
I guess so. I mean, this is not like your usual linear, like one Doctor follows the other one and thus has all the memories of the previous Doctors. This was Ncuti and Tennant. So Ncuti's Doctor being created at the same time as David Tennant's Doctor regenerating. So that's like a fork in the road for the Doctor at that point. So Ncuti onwards from that point doesn't have any knowledge of what the other Doctor's up to from that point. They're like two separate. You know what I mean?
Basically, bi-generation makes no sense whatsoever.
It does make sense. It does.
He could go to UNIT. And find out where Donna lives. I mean, that would have been the most simple way of kind of solving this. But,
Oh, he could have done, yes,
that would spoil the plot.
Oh, Maria, you're absolutely 100% right. He could have gone to UNIT. In fact, he could have gone to UNIT anyway. Even if it wasn't for the purpose of hunting down the other Doctor and that TARDIS. He should have gone there anyway, because they surely would have had some kind of... they could provide some more help than just, knocking around a hotel for a year. They would have been able to assist it in some way, So yeah, we could unravel this forever. I think there's just.
Sorry, my brain was kind of thinking it through, but it's a Christmas special. Let's just eat a bit more Christmas pudding.
Exactly.
Put a bit of cream on top of it and forget about it.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about the previous time the Doctors have met in the Christmas special with Capaldi, Once Upon a Time? Twice Upon a Time. And then you've got, obviously, the 50th anniversary. They say they can't retain this because the Doctors meeting, they can't retain those memories. So does that then mean that he can't quite remember the time that they spent together? So he doesn't quite remember that he's now retired. People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect.
Here we go. He's done the old bait and switch. He's like, look, I've got this great concept and ideology around all this, and then just throws out a bloody line from Blink. Very well done, Matt.
Through a point, and you realise halfway through talking through this point that your point is absolute codswallop, and you just kind of got to save it a little somehow.
I don't know, Matt. What does that feel like? Tell us what that's like.
But actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
I mean, that, to be fair, that is the big get out clause line of the entire show, right? Because in a lot of ways, that kind of encapsulates Moffat's way of getting around these things. Because he did say that in an interview. And when, Maria, that question you asked about how come the Doctor is there and occupies the same space and all that stuff. When Moffat was asked about that, he did say something along the lines of, nobody asks where the beginning of the universe came from, and, we just accept the fact that it's happened and we just move along and get on with it. He's applied that sort of same logic. He was like, look, just don't worry about it too much. It's there and it's happening. Just don't think about it.
Do you know, I think back to when John Nathan Turner was in charge of classic Doctor Who, and he kind of got rid of the sonic screwdriver. I think it was actually in the Visitation that he did that. And part of the reasoning was that they wanted more kind of science-based stories and kind of not giving the Doctor a quick get out. And I think, I think that's where we are sometimes with some of the modern stories. There's all this kind of wishy-washy kind of explanation for stuff, but it doesn't really make sense. But
a crutch mechanism is, I read you. Sorry, Harry, let's pick back up with you, dude. Did you give a score on this, buddy? Did you say...
I don't think so.
Did you have anything else to say on it, dude?
No, I think I said everything I needed to. I thought it was a decent episode. I'd probably give it 7 out of 10. Okay.
6 from Maria, 7 from Harry. Matt, without diving into doctorwhoquotes.wiki.com/whatever, what are your thoughts, please, on Joy to the World?
Well, Joy to the World. Actually, Gary, that's a disservice. I know that off by heart.
I love the way you start these things sometimes as well, Matt. It's so... You've got this, like, story time kind of vibe. It's like, when you kick off, you're like this. Well, Gary, let me take you back. Let me take you back to a time when I was on the sofa with a cup of tea, just about to dive into Joy to the World. The stars were shining. Yeah, the breeze was blowing. Candles were lit in the living room. I settled down, had my slippers on, and the BBC ident fired up. And that was it. You've got that lovely kind of story time-ish way of saying things. But I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You crack on, mate.
No, that's fine. I'll begin our story as... No, I don't know why, but I'm kind of on the same boat as everybody else. It was good. It wasn't anything groundbreaking. I think I was probably expecting a little bit more from Moffat, especially, and just the general sort of hype around, this massive time hotel, and it's the time hotel it wasn't that heavily used, and I know that's money. You could have used that so much more than, what was it, 4 or 5 different locations, and then back again into the same locations. But I don't know. I had high expectations, and I came away thinking, it was all right. Do you know what I mean?
It's all right. Yeah.
It wasn't anything that I'm gonna scream about and rush to make sure everybody in my family watches this episode, because you've got those family members. Oh, I stopped watching after David Tennant left, and the friends. You think, well, this is the episode that I'm going to prove you wrong on. It's not. It wasn't that. It wasn't that. It was. I think it sets out to be a fun, Christmassy sort of no real consequence episode. And on the majority, I feel it does perform there. But like Harry was saying, the way the Doctor treats Nicola or Joy, sorry, when they're trying to manifest Joy's real self, it was horrible. It was really horrible. And then it's just Moffat saying, there's no bad way to save someone. Yes, I completely 100% agree with Harry. Yes, there was, and that was it. And it doesn't make for good Christmas Day viewing when everyone's feeling bubbly and happy with each other for once, It was all right. There was lots I didn't like about it. There was lots I liked about it. I'm very middle of the road with this one. And the thing that got on my wick the most was you'll find out, or, just the shutdowns that Moffat does tend to put into a lot of his stories. Like with Capaldi, it was, oh, shut up. And especially with Amy, it was very much the same. I think it's just his general style of writing, which I 99% of the time I adore, but there were a few grating moments in this, and I feel, it kind of let itself down a little bit and wasn't as good as it could have been.
Stephen, you've let us down. You've let yourself down. You've let everybody down.
For a Moffat script, I was expecting a little bit more. I'll be honest.
Gotcha. Right. Do you know what? I think it's kind of, it's, I wouldn't say strange, but it's interesting, should I say, that you mention it that way, because one of the small news stories that I spoke about in the regular show that went out yesterday, one of the stories was how good the reception that Stephen Moffat got for this episode. And how many people had jumped on the socials to say they would love to see Moffat back to write more Doctor Who based on this, based on Boom that he did for Series 14 and this one. So it's interesting that you say that you expected more from a Moffat script when the consensus was that, people want more of the same. They kind of like the way that he writes. But I can totally see what you're saying in terms of, because it's a Moffat script, there's that sort of ebb and flow where, like, at some point throughout the episode, it's like really cool. Like you said, there's lots to like about it, but then something will happen and you're like, oh God, that's not very good. That's not cool. And then that passes and then you're back to liking stuff again. So Moffat scripts are generally quite roller coaster, aren't they? They're quite up and down.
They are very, They take you through a journey, and you end up feeling it was all right. And most of the time in Moffat scripts, you think that that was brilliant, and it's just this one. I don't know. I liked it. I liked it a lot, but I also kind of came away feeling meh, a bit meh, a bit unsatisfied, I'd say.
What would you give it out of 10 then?
I'd have to go a 5. And I think that's the lowest I've ever scored something.
Maria gave it a higher score.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I might go down, actually, because I've just remembered something else that irritated me.
Oh, go on in.
I think it's mostly because of Shooty's performance, because he does bring the episode up a lot.
He was good,
obviously,
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and what little Joy had, is it Nicola? I wouldn't be able to pronounce her second name, I don't think. Yeah, that's it.
Coughlin? Even I don't know. Oh, it's not good, is it?
Coughlin or... Nicola or Joy, I'm going to call her Joy. What little she had to do, she was very good. And you get the sense that I immediately warmed to her and thought, she could make a really cool companion for a few episodes. And that sort of thing. I just thought of something else. She kills her mum at the end.
She doesn't kill her mum. Come on.
I kind of see where you're coming from, Matt, because I kind of thought that. I thought her mum is now Stardust, and how do you explain that? It's kind of
she didn't right. Her mum, by the vibe that I got anyway from the end of that story was that her mum was dying anyway.
Yeah.
So her mum's time was almost up anyway. So what would be a nicer ending for her mum to die alone in a hospital bed with nobody around her, or for the sake of a fictional story like Doctor Who, that just before her mum was about to die alone with nobody around her, gets reunited with her daughter and is then with her daughter for the rest of time.
I suppose, yeah. The way that you've put it, I didn't take it. I think I was just kind of a little bit miffed by a few other things in the episode, and then I just thought, and then she's gone and killed her mum. But thinking about it that way, yes, I see it. I see your point, and that does make much more sense.
Moffat, I want a glass of wine from you, buddy, at the BFI. I'm going to bat for you a lot tonight.
I tell you what did annoy me, because I've just remembered this. There was one bit of dialogue where Shooty's doctor says that he doesn't live one day after the other. But the thing is, he has done that in the past, because he did it when he was in the Pertwee, when he was in his third incarnation as Pertwee's doctor, because he was stranded on Earth. I mean, presumably he did it with River as well, and when he was the 12th Doctor, when he was at the university. So, sometimes the dialogue kind of took you out of the story a little bit, I think, sometimes. I mean, I just wish they'd gone with the Time Hotel romp. If that's what you're selling me, if that's what your trailer is selling me, give me a romp, give me something to make me feel happy, rather than kind of have these, like you said, Gary, roller coasters of within the story. But yeah, that was just something that I kind of picked up, and I thought that's not his doctor, because he's done that before.
I wish you hadn't pointed that out, Maria. That makes the episode feel worse now.
Come on, guys, come on.
Sorry, I know, but you know what it is. You want so much from a Christmas story, because Christmas Day is all about being with family and kind of having a good time. And I had a good time when I was watching Gavin and Stacey and Wallace and Gromit. So you want that kind of to continue with your Doctor Who, but you've got this kind of roller coaster of emotions as you're kind of watching it. And I really wanted them to just go with Time Hotel and give me a nice romp, for Christmas. And I suppose, we didn't quite get that, but it's not a bad story. I think I will keep my score at 6, actually, because Moffat in some ways is actually better at Christmas specials than RTD. So I suppose he was in a difficult position, because he's not writing for a current companion. Mm-hmm. Oh, and there was that bit where Millie was in it as well, which was kind of a bit pointless. But Millie Gibson was in it at one point, wasn't she? And I kind of thought, that was kind of wedged in a little bit. But anyway.
Steve, I'm sorry, dude.
Sorry, the more I think about the story, the more I analyse it, the more faults I'm finding. So just cut me off now, Gary.
Yeah, Steve. There wasn't a lot wrong with the story, dude. You do you. Come back and write some more for Who, and we'll have a chat in the green room at the BFI. Yeah.
We love you, Moffat.
Yeah, we do. I'm sorry if I don't sound like it, but we do.
I know he listens. I know Steve listens. I know. We love you.
Thinking about it, actually, there was a lot of good moments.
Now there was a lot of good
now
moments.
I know that Moffat's listening.
Love
you, Moffat.
Yeah.
I've got a bottle of red here to make up for any bad words.
Okay.
No, but there was a lot of good moments. It was just the fact that I don't know. It was just, I think I was expecting more from it. And a lot of the time, Ncuti felt like some other Doctor. And I know that's probably predominantly because, Moffat's written for the two other Doctors. But at the same time, I don't know, there was a lot to love in it. I think the cut through with the hotel receptionist was absolutely like gorgeous viewing, and such a I didn't realize how much it would sort of bring you out of the story, but the actual thing itself was a lovely sort of 5 minutes and really sort of poignant. But there was just a few niggly bits for me.
Gotcha.
I feel like maybe scored it a little harshly. I probably would maybe
won't
give it another rewatch.
No, it's a
at
5.
Some point.
No.
I'm not changing now. No. It
in the
can
future.
stay at a 5 for now. But I want to be pleasantly surprised at another date.
You're not even going to watch it in the future, Matt. That'll be the only time that you're going to watch this story.
There's not a single episode of Doctor Who that I've only ever watched once.
That's a lie.
No.
That's a lie.
Well, modern. I haven't seen.
You're telling me that you've watched A Christmas Carol more than once.
Yeah, that's not the bottom of the Christmas special list for me. So yeah, I've watched that a few times.
Okay, we've all got our. This smells a bit fishy. Faces on.
You know what? I don't think I've watched Sleep No More since I saw it originally. I don't think I've ever gone back and watched it.
You'd never go back and watch that.
I did.
Who would do that?
Go back and watch that, Gary.
Christ on a bite. I mean, Matt.
I watched it again recently. It still didn't make any sense.
It's still awful, isn't it?
It was still dead awful.
Bloody Nora.
But I did give it another watch because we were doing a rewatch through. And I thought, come on, let's change my opinions on this. And it failed on all cylinders. But
so you've watched the Dr. Mysterio one as well then, Matt, more than once?
Yeah, probably only twice though, mate.
Brave soul. Okay, right then. Okay, guys, let's recap the scores then. So a 5 from Matt, a 6 from Maria, I think it was, and Harry, you gave it a 7? Yes. So a kind of cluster of scores around the middle of the table, I would say. If we average it out, it's probably a 6 from the Big Blue Box, because I think Adam and I gave it a 7 or a 7.5, something like that. In all seriousness, yeah, I think it is kind of a mid-ish kind of story, you know. It's never going to be in anyone's top 5, top 10 of modern Doctor Who episodes, let's be honest. It could be, if that is you, then. I suppose
rather than joy to the world, you could call it ambivalence to the world. It's kind of...
We could call it murdering daughter turned star to the world.
I mean, the bits that were good, but then the other bits that weren't as good.
Maria, you can do better than that. Come on.
We only get top quality reviews
the
here.
Bits that were good were good.
And the bad bits, they were pretty bad.
The water that I just drank was wet.
I think it's now time for a cup of tea and to go to bed.
Yes, let's wrap up because I think we're going a bit delirious. We don't normally record this late. I think, yeah. Let's wrap it, unless you guys have got anything else, we're going to wrap it there for the January roundtable. Lots of dancing happening here, listener, that you can't see, unfortunately. But yeah, even a little plushy Dalek's going nuts at the
so cute
theme tune. So thank you very much listening thank you very much for listening to We Are Delirious. Another month, and that was the January Roundtable. It was great to have you aboard as we waxed on the war games in colour that these guys destroyed, and Joy to the World that these guys destroyed, as was predicted. Didn't see Maria coming in strong with the 6, though, I must admit. That was unexpected, but there we go. So thank you to these guys once again. I think you'll agree. I was joking earlier. Very, very knowledgeable, really entertaining. I love doing these roundtables with these guys. It's very, very cool. So as usual, make sure that you are following the Big Blue Box on whatever podcast app you listen to your podcasts on. Hit the follow button. You won't miss an episode every month for the roundtable or the weekly shows. You'll get all that stuff. You can listen online as well, bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk, and you can read the articles and reviews from this lot, and you can link off to the socials and the free Discord server. And the February roundtable, who knows what we're going to talk on that one. We'll give you some cool insights and whatnot and all that stuff. So stay tuned on the socials, because you'll find out all about that. Okay, until next time, my name's Gary.
My name's Maria.
My name's Harry.
And my name's Matt.
And remember,